Hey Saber fans, this is Delrin from the Rebel Armory and FX Sabers forums and various YouTube comment sections. This is my Jedi Killer. I've made this hilt scratch built all by me over the last 2.5 years plus. Never machined anything before in my life, never installed any electronics before in my life, so it's been a real trial by fire. This saber design is, as many of you may know, by a gentleman called Lee Oliver, who did the painting of this saber for the Art of the Force Awakens art book. This was the concept for Kylo Ren's crossguard before it was eventually deemed to become a crossguard. So I based the saber off the original painting out of the book, printed these out, and I got as close as I could without breaking the laws of physics too badly. So thanks to Lee Oliver for coming up with this amazing saber design, because it never would have inspired me to start learning to machine if he hadn't. So it's run by a Golden Harvest V3 Phase 4 board. Thank you, Sabertech. I absolutely love the board. Smugglers Outpost Dark Side 28mm speaker. Thank you, Albert. Your speaker is destructive. Switchcraft 2.1mm recharge port. KeepPower 18650 battery. I have gone for a recharge port and a removable battery, in fact, just to give me that flexibility. Because when I'm at home, I've only got one retention screw holding the back end of the saber on because I couldn't do threading. So I don't really want to be opening it too many times if I can avoid it, hence recharge, plus it fits in aesthetically. But also, if I'm going to take the saber to a con or whatever, I want to have that added flexibility, being able to swap out a battery if I run short. Because if you run a saber with an 18650 constantly, you're going to get, in, as far as I can tell, about 45 minutes out of it. That seems about right. That's if you run it constantly, and I've done that when I've been changing settings, etc. But if you're only going to be on and off over at a con or whatever, you're going to get a good few hours out of it, as long as it's not constantly, I'd say. The connectors on the chassis inside are Shtok Custom Worx. You'll see them when I open the saber up. Real quartz crystal in the crystal chamber. It's got an open crystal chamber. You can't really see that on the original painting, but I figured it was a where you can see all the cutaway stuff. I figured it was worth putting a crystal in. It's a real quartz one. There's brass tubes underneath it, which I've used as my wire paths. Top and bottom of the chamber are made of aluminium-bronze, a rather specialised alloy that we use for some components at work, so I managed to get some scrap of that. KR Sabers blade plug. This actually comes from the crossguard kit. Cal was good enough to sell me his own one because I asked if he had any old stock, because I thought it'd go well with this saber, seeing as it became the Kylo saber in the end. He said no, he didn't have any, so he sold me his own one. Thank you, Cal. Fits in beautifully. And he had already weathered it. I got the saber anodised by AA Anodising of Skipton in North Yorkshire. Thank you very much, Annie and Adam. It was an awesome job. They turned it around for me in a few days. And then I proceeded to destroy it to make it look all weathered like it does in the painting. Whoops. So I've had to sort of make up the other side of the saber because there's nothing on the original artwork to tell you what the other side might look like. I put a couple of Graphics pins in here that I've machined down so that I can actually remove the shroud eventually if I need to do any repairs or anything. Hopefully I won't. There's a bit of paint underneath here as well. There's some brass and there's some black enamel as well to break up the rings here, just to give it some different texture. I weathered the whole thing with the stainless steel brush attachment on my faux Dremel. Still can't decide whether I've overdone the weathering on it or not, but at least it does look used. Everybody who's looked at it and says, wow, it looks battered, so that works, I suppose. So without too much further ado, I'll fire it up and then you can hear it. I've got reverse sound in the saber, as in I've got the speaker facing forward, so the sound actually blasts out of these cutaways down here in the pommel section. I couldn't really see the back end of the saber in the design again, so I've done a design here which kind of echoes what you've got on the crossguard, but it looks black on the original painting, so that's what I've gone with. I kind of decided I wanted to hide the venting a bit, so it's in there. And the sound kind of blasts out sideways out of the saber rather than venting out the back, like you hear quite often. So a matter of taste, I fancied that, so gave it a go. Anyway, I'll boot it up, and here it is. Yep, it's loud. So I've got a blue illuminated switch here from JQ Sabers, normal 6x6x4mm momentary switch after for the auxiliary, and let's fire it up. Blade plug lights up beautifully. Nice smooth swing. Slice the blocks, lock up. Force push. You can see the crystal reacting to that. And some gesture controls. I put twist off on it, which seemed to work quite nicely. I haven't done swing on, that seems to be quite sensitive. That's basically how it works. I haven't got much room here to stick the blade in at present, but I'll probably do that in a minute. So to take the chassis out, what I have to do is actually remove my kill key completely. That boot noise catches me out every time, it's so flipping loud. This is actually a rotary kill key that I designed myself. A lot of people have used it. There's you have to put a divot in the kill key. Sorry, it's not focusing. So that the key will only work in one position. And I used a screw that I machined down to fit into the top of it and put that little mark in it so I can tell which position it's at for rotary purposes. So the reason for taking that out is because the chassis won't actually come out if I leave the kill key in, because it's too high, it just hits the back of the saber. So I've got this other little faux plug which I put in instead, and you'll see it kill the power as I push it in. There we go, it's off. So to remove the back end, I remove the cosmetic red wire. Just pop that out to the side. Underneath, the only screw that is actually a functional one is this one here. It's an M3 screw. Just get my Allen key to bear on that. There we go. And now I can maneuver the back of the saber out like so. And there it is. So this is actually, technically this is actually the lightsaber itself really. There's the Golden Harvest, lovely board, removable SD card quite easily here. The recharge port is there. That's how my sound venting works. You can see the gaps a bit more easily now. Removable KeepPower battery in the bottom. I don't know about anybody else, but I found the KeepPower, well actually it's a Keystone battery holder. Found it to be very tight, so to prevent any damage to the battery, etc., I actually hot glued a little ribbon on the underside so that I can actually just pull that to remove the battery if I have to. I won't do it now. That'll make it easy to get out. Shtok 10-pole connector, which is what actually connects the chassis inside. This chassis needed to be orientated a particular way because of the illuminated switch. There were more wire paths than on the connector that I already had. So this was the one to go. You have to actually orientate it a specific way. The hole there that you can see actually has a brass rod that goes into it, which is on the permanent bit of the chassis, which is up inside the saber here. So I just have to line that up as it goes in and everything's fine. The speaker is on the back end. As you can see, it's facing forward. Unfortunately, the lettering's come off, but it is a Smugglers Outpost. You can probably tell by the volume. So the pommel cap, which is insulated with a bit of tape, nothing too glamorous. That fits over that. I just have to make sure that's roughly aligned with where this hole's going to go on the inside. So that's the guts of the saber. So I'll put that back in now. When I get it up to the connector, it kind of self-aligns just about. There we go. I've got to just make sure that my pommel goes back in the right position. There it is. You can feel it acting on the poker pins inside. And then I can drop the retention screw in place. There we go. And then pop the cosmetic red wire back into this handy little hole in the chassis next to the recharge port. There we go. Now to get this plug out, I can't get my fingers in there, so it's Squeeze's job for this one. and we're in action. I'll put the other kill key back in, just to ensure it's correct, and then, yeah, it still works. So I'll just put the blade in now. Retention screw up here. Lovely KeepPower Sabers plug. 2 LED and illuminated PCB on the bottom of that from JQ Sabers. Just grab my blade. That's in contact with the connectors. Oh, come on, behave. Here we go. And it lives. Force push. And twist off. There's my Jedi Killer. Thanks to everybody who supported me on the forum while I was making it, and thanks for watching. Catch you later.